walks up to the athletic director and the president of the school, and they fired him right here on the spot. What about my love? Wasn't it enough? Just let me know. Herm Edwards is an interesting figure. Was an NFL coach. So, Lindy, you should know a little bit about Herm Edwards and how he is. But Herm Edwards is a very respected coach, ESPN analyst. One of my favorite guys to listen to motivational speeches for, took a job from ESPN, went straight to Arizona, accepted the job. We're not going to get into all the violations that Arizona State does have right now, because there's a ton of them. If you've been watching anything in the news related to the school over the past 2 years, they have not done things the right way, especially in the COVID year. But that's neither here nor there. Herm Edwards has been sent out. And before we get into our opinions on, who we think should be hired, what we think about the firing, let me show you what had happened this week. And I'm sure this might be a surprise to some of you guys, but let me make sure I got the right video here lined up. This is how he was fired. This is how he's fired. Not even 15 minutes after the game had ended. They lost against Eastern Michigan. Walks up to the athletic director and the president of the school, and they fired him right here on the spot. This, to me,
sad. Yo, if I got fired like that.
It's not, it's not even that. It's just the fact that Herm Edwards is a straight up guy. Straight up and down. Just tell me like it is. He took it. If anybody was not going to freak out, it was him getting fired this way. I don't know if this was taking advantage of the man at this point in time, but this is not what you do. Why would anybody want to come coach for Arizona State at this point in time? I have a lot to say on the subject.
They have an interim head coach, by the way.
Well, I mean, they always do. Anytime somebody gets fired, they introduce an interim head coach up into the next role. But Lindy, let me go ahead and get your thoughts on this, man. Are you feeling as disgusted as I am after watching that?
I mean, it's almost like, it's almost like and I don't want to quote it as the real world, but when we got our full-time jobs and everything, it's like you on the shop floor, and they don't, management doesn't wait until the end of the day. They decide to embarrass you right there and then, and in front of all your coworkers and everything, and and I've seen that quite a few times already.
Me too.
But, I don't know. I can't see myself being put in that kind of situation. It's a little bit embarrassing. But when you're in a position to take it, the way Herm did, it's a good sight to see. And to my knowledge, I believe he wasn't the only one that left that staff. I think there was like five other coaches, including a couple of coordinators, that were gone too, in the midst of his tenure. I think he only had like one bowl win in 5 years, accumulated a record of 26-20. So, but I mean, man, that if you're going to set that kind of example, to set yourself up with opportunity to get another coach in that may have a reputable stature for your program, that's not the way to go. It really isn't.
Yeah, and like I said, if they don't have a tough time finding the next head coach to come there, not only with all the NCAA violations that they are going to have to deal with, again, like you said, Lindy, we've seen it time and time again. We're a little older than the two guys up here, so we absolutely understand that things have to happen right then and there and stop the bleeding. Death by 1,000 cuts is what they say, man. And it is embarrassing, but this is kind of on, like, to me, just knowing Herm Edwards and knowing how he is and things like that, this is just on another level of, like, disrespect, regardless of how you feel. But again, like you said, he's the ultimate guy to take a firing like this, though. Like, I don't think anybody else would be able to do what he did. super professional about it. He knew as soon as he walked up to him, he already knew. That's why he had patted him on the shoulder and said, "I know, man. I know. I know you can." If you read his lips, he was like, "I know. Let me get my stuff together." But like, come on, man. He was trying to turn that program around. You don't bring an old school coach like Herm Edwards to come to college and coach and expecting this dude to be a national champion at a school like Arizona State. Hey, I was on the hype train. Don can tell you, we was on the hype train. We bought the Arizona State hats and everything, man. we was Sun Devils all the way, and they just didn't end up being how they were. But Sword, let me get your thoughts on this, man. After you heard me and Lindy's thoughts, add some more fuel to the fire.
So to go off of you and Don being on the hype train, I know I did pick either pick the Sun Devils to win their conference or be runners-up, and that's when I first found out y'all being on the hype train. So I was like, maybe it's the year, who knows?
One day year this year.
It was not. I mean, absolutely. As weird as it is to say, Herm Edwards was the right person to do that too, because like you said, most coaches probably would I don't want to say would throw like a temper tantrum, but I mean, most coaches would not have handled it well as Herm Edwards. It's messed up that Arizona State did that, but Herm Edwards took it like a man. I think he will be back. I don't think this is going to hold him down. If anything, I think it's going to motivate him to probably go up against a school that will yearly face Arizona State, maybe. I did see, because, after watching Don do his thing, I kind of had to pull up. So I did see the odds for some of the coaches to be next up. So leading at number 1 at plus 250
for the
next head coach, Florida State head coach Mike Norvell to replace Herm Edwards.
What?
Yep. He is leading right now.
As long as we get Jimbo back, if we could do a trade, if there could be a 3-way trade, if we get Jimbo back to come back to Florida State, I'm cool with it.
What does A&M get? Just a middle finger?
Pretty much. They get Dan Mullen.
Oh, no. In second place, Coastal Carolina head coach Jamie Chadwell at plus 300.
That's a good one.
Followed by BYU head coach Kalani Sitake at 400. You got Kansas head coach Lance Leopold in fourth at 525. And Tulane head coach Willie Fritz rounding out the top 5 in the odds of 1,150. Urban Meyer is 10th, putting him at plus 9,900.
You know why, though? Because they want him to go to Nebraska.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So he wouldn't even be mentioned. I mean, if you choose between two schools, you go into the school that's had 5 national championships in their lifetime, not Arizona State. Yeah. Straight up.
And all the
and they're in the Big Ten.
The world.
I think he was one of 19 different head coaches that were hired prior to the start of the 2018 season, and now there's only 9 left. It's a staggering number.
Herm Edwards or Urban Meyer?
I believe Herm Edwards. Yeah.
Wow.
There was 19 head coaches hired that year prior to the season, and there's only 9 remaining.
And
holy crap!
Else,
so they've probably either not coaching or taking coordinator jobs somewhere. Wow, that's crazy.
And somebody else that is on the list, I don't have the odds for it, but somebody else on the list is Arizona Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury. He is also on the list.
I mean, you know who I was just about to say?
Who?
Yeah, Norvell is leading.
Hey, ECG, can I get into my dude that I think Arizona State should get?
Who?
And do the whole Arizona State thing about Herm Edwards and whatnot. Yeah. I'm gonna do a 2-for-1. All right, so Herm Edwards, that's what I think of him being fired, man. I mean, I'm kind of shocked because you did it on the spot. I did not know that. But like Sora said, he's one of the only guys that can handle it because of how straight up he is. But I guess we have to move on. Herm Edwards is gonna find a job somewhere. He's a good head coach. You can't blame him too much for everything. I mean, yeah, some of it is his fault, but not all of it is his fault.
Wait, hold that thought though. Before you get into the say, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's a great question. How many people up here think that he's gonna go coach again? I don't.
I think
I think this is his last time.
But I think it'll be like a positional coach instead of a head coach.
I think he's done. Do you? What about you, Lynn? Do you think he's done?
I would think at this stage in his career, I get to an extent that you don't want this to be the way that your career ends, that you would want to finish on a brighter note. But if that's the way that it's going to happen, then sometimes you don't want to try to subject yourself to a similar situation. Not to say that it's going to be to the level of what Arizona State's going through with another program, but I think he's in a spot where he's just going to be like, okay, yeah, I think that's enough.
And I think with the violations too, because that was all during his regime. And nothing is really outside of the violations during the COVID protocols, with all the, the parents coming visiting the school and not being, all that happening. Like, there's too many things lingering over his head right now, where if he was to go to another spot or go to another situation, it's just going to bring on, press that they necessarily don't want for a team, especially if he goes to another college team. They're not going to want that. I mean, that's almost like a immediate send out the door. Like, why did we bring you in anyways? I don't think anybody's gonna touch him, but like you said, Lindy, it's like, you hate to end it on this note, but he's the ultimate professional that could probably take it. Like, I've spent enough time away from my family and friends and my daughter. He has 2 daughters that he's still trying to raise, and he took a chance by going to Arizona State, and it just so happened that didn't end up being the thing that he wanted. So, Sword, do you think he's coming back or no?
I can see both. I can absolutely agree with what you're saying. He's like, you know what? We'll leave it off. Spend more time with his kids, his wife, his friends, all that. But I could also see him be like, that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. That's not how I want my name to end up being. I don't want to at the end to be like, and then this happened at Arizona State and he never coached again. Not saying it could be head coach. It literally could be a offensive coordinator or a positional coach, like Slay said. Edwards was never really the guy to kind of chase the bag, so I don't think it would be whoever throws the most money at him, if people are even throwing money at him, to be like, hey, come here, coach here, blah 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 blah. But I do think it can just depend on what Edwards wants to do. If he's ready to sit down and watch the sunset rise on a grateful world, or if he's like, I'm back in, put me in, coach, let's go.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. But go ahead, Slay, continue your point.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a good discussion point, man.
Yeah, I agree. This is concept, man. But yeah, I think Herm Edwards being fired. Yeah, I mean, you do expect that in a way, because Arizona State wasn't playing great. But the talent on that team, it's gonna get blamed on him, and that's probably why they fired him. And he took it like a man. But like I was saying earlier, I think what I was gonna say about the whole Arizona Cardinals thing, I think the coach that should be the head coach for Arizona State is Vance Joseph, the defensive coordinator from the Cardinals. And I say that because, obviously his name was thrown out there on the Arizona State football actual website as one of the coaches that could go there. And I feel like because of how well he's done as a defensive coordinator in the NFL, he's head coached before in the professional level. He's got a good resume to get a head coaching job at Arizona State. I think with him, it's just like he knows how to get the best out of players. And I just feel like if he goes to a team in college football, I think he'll develop the talent, and you give him a lot of resources to work with, and just get him a quarterback that has talent. And let's see what he could do. I mean, don't keep it a one read offense. That was what's killing them with Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels actually played really, really well against who were they playing this following week? Mississippi State. They were playing Mississippi State. He played really.
He didn't
really
do
well.
that. He didn't do that at Arizona State, and that's why.
Yeah, and
his teammates. I don't know if you've seen the video. there was a culture thing there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys seen the video of when all the Arizona State players are like trashing Jayden Daniels' locker when he decided to like transfer out. Now that could be a two-way street. Either he was just a terrible human and they didn't like him at all, or either the teammates were just terrible people and they didn't understand why he was transferred. So nobody will really know, but you know, it's a 50-50 chance of that there was a toxic culture going on there too.
But again, though, that shows you that proves to you so far that he's not a one-read quarterback. Because if he's doing this at LSU, if he's going through his progressions and he's not sinking in on one read, and he actually rolls out and just uses his legs now, that kind of goes to show you that he's not a one-read quarterback. I feel like it's the system that he was in. Now, can this also correlate to a guy like Tyler Van Dyke? I don't know. But when we watched this tape, we seen that he was when he had one guy open, he would throw it to that same guy, and if he couldn't find that one read, he would just keep going to that person, even though he had a wide open dude in the back of the end zone. So I don't know. It could correlate to a couple quarterbacks, but I knew it correlated to Jayden Daniels because he's out here balling, man. He made Will Rogers. Will Rogers didn't even do too much against that LSU's defense, and you know how we feel about LSU's defense. We didn't think it was great last year. This year they look a lot better, man. But yeah, Herm Edwards being fired, tough. Gotta take it, but we'll see what happens with them with their new interim coach.
Yeah, I mean, I hope the best for Herm. I hope all the allegations that have come out are not too serious, but I mean, everybody read through the grapevine there. I mean, there's obviously something going on. I don't agree with the way that he was fired, and you know, we all up here share kind of the same sentiments of that. It is not only super embarrassing, you wouldn't want it to happen to you. They had just lost against Eastern Michigan, which is a team that they probably shouldn't have lost to, but like, you're already taking that loss and taking it on the chin, and then like not even 15 minutes later, you're walking off the field into your athletic director and the president of the school saying, "All right, pack your bags. We'll see you later. Thank you for your services."
Damn.
Ultimate professional, but you know, it is what it is.